wherever you're listening or watching Radio Afinju. The time is 6 p.m.
Ẹ bá mi pè o. Àfínjú. Kí lorúkọ rẹ̀? Àfínjú. Rédíò. Àfínjú. Gbogbo èèyàn ló ń gbọ́ Àfínjú. Gbogbo èèyàn ló ń gbọ́ Àfínjú. Lórí WhatsApp. Àfínjú. Instagram. Àfínjú. Facebook. Àfínjú. Lórí X. Àfínjú. Lórí YouTube. Àfínjú. Lórí TikTok. Àfínjú. Kí lorúkọ rẹ̀? Àfínjú. Ẹ bá mi pè o. Àfínjú. Rédíò. Àfínjú. Gbogbo èèyàn ló ń gbọ́ 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 Àfínjú. Rédíò Àfínjú. Rédíò Àfínjú. Rédíò Àfínjú.
Stay informed with news on Radio Afinju.
First, a look at the highlights. Senate sets up committee to oversee Rivers administrator. Drone strike pound Port Sudan, putting aid deliveries at risk. Cardinals enter seclusion ahead of secret conclave to elect new pope. Good evening and welcome to the World News on Radio Afinju. My name is Tolulope Awoyale. The news in detail. The Senate has constituted an 18-member committee tasked with overseeing the activities of the sole administrator of Rivers State, Ibok Ete Ibas, in the bid to strengthen transparency and accountability in the state governance. Senate leader, Senator Okpeyemi Bamidele, was named a chairman of the committee. The announcement was made by President of the Senate, Senator Gospel Akpabio, who during the resumption of the plenary highlighted the importance of the committee's mandate, stating that his role is critical in ensuring effective legislative oversight in Rivers State. Akpabio also hinted that the composition of the committee might be subject to review following further consultations. The Senate President is charged the committee to commence its oversight duties without delay, stressing the urgency of the assignment and reaffirming the Senate's commitment to upholding democratic processes in Rivers State. In the meantime, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, has condemned the killing taking place in the country while calling for a renewed commitment to national service amidst mounting challenges across the country. In his address at the plenary session, the Speaker expressed deep concern over killings in Borno, Plateau, Benue, and Kwara states. On the economy, Abbas referenced the IMF's 2025 Article 4 consultation, noting the positive assessment of Nigerians' fiscal discipline, including the ending of central bank deficit financing and fuel subsidies. He pledged that the House would ensure legislative processes to support economic stability. The Speaker also sounded the alarm over the anticipated flooding across more than 30 states and called on relevant committees to review the country's emergency preparedness, propose mitigation strategies, and provide oversight over the legislative framework on disaster risk management and climate resilience. The Speaker also disclosed plans for a joint high-level committee on reconciliation. The Benue State House of Assembly has directed the Commissioner of Youth, Sport and Creativity, Tekimbi Iyange, to within 7 days terminate the contract for the renovation of Abba Aku Stadium awarded to Moni Mitchell Sport Facility Construction for breach of contractual arrangement. The House has equally directed the Attorney General of the state to immediately issue a legal action against the contractor with a view of recovering funds he collected from the state government without executing the project. Speaker Aodona Jaho, who issued the order after hearing the Commissioners of Youth, Sport and Creativity and the Attorney General of the state, lamented that for the fourth time the contractor has refused to honor the invitation of the House and of its two standing committees. He announced that the Assembly would write to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) to prosecute Moni Mitchell's sport facility for defrauding the state. Similarly, the Speaker directed that all staff of the Ministry of Works, Housing and Urban Development are accomplices in the alleged fraudulent inflation of the contract sum should appear before the House. A mild drama ensued at the resumption of the trial of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, at the Federal High Court in Abuja when the presiding judge, Justice James Omotosho, barred Kanu's sister-in-law for 3 sittings. The woman, identified as Favor Kanu, was accused of recording court proceedings during a previous sitting and allegedly publishing restricted content online. Justice Omotosho recounted how he had previously warned Kanu and refrained from citing her for contempt. Favor, when called upon, claimed ignorance of the court still being in session and stated she had stopped recording immediately after the warning. But the judge, while listening to both explanations, temporarily excused Favor from attending the next 3 sittings. He also reiterated the need for order and respect for the court processes, stating that things must be done properly and justice would be done. Motorcycle riders in Lokoja, the Kogi state capital, protested alleged police harassment and hike in levies paid to the state government. The protesters barricaded part of the popular Muritala Mohammed Way in Lokoja to register their grievances. Addressing journalists, Chairman, Motorcycle Owners Operators of Nigeria, Lokoja branch, Abdurrahman Abubakar, alleged extortion of its member by the police. He also frowned at the increase in the levies payable to the state government, which he said limited their profit gain. Away from Nigeria, explosions and fire rock Sudan's main port city and wartime capital Port Sudan, part of a long-day drone assault that has touched the country's biggest fuel depot, damaging the most important gateway for foreign aid. It was reported that massive column of black smoke billowed from the area around the port, and a witness said blasts had been heard from other areas through it was not clear where else it has been. Sudan's electricity company said a substation in the city was also hit, causing a complete power outage, part of a systematic assault in the infrastructure. Port Sudan had enjoyed relative calm since the civil war suddenly erupted in April 2023, becoming the base for the army-aligned government after the Sudanese armed forces lost control on how much of the capital Khartoum at the start of the conflict to the paramilitary rapid support forces. Hundreds of thousands of displaced people have also sought refuge in the city, where United Nations officials, diplomats and agencies have also set up headquarters, making it the main base for the aid operators in what the UN has called the world's biggest humanitarian disaster. In other parts of Africa, a Ugandan opposition activist who President Yoweri Museveni's son said he has been holding captive in his basement appeared to have been tortured. Uganda's chief of defense forces Muhoozi Kainerugaba, who is Museveni's eldest child, said last week he had detained Eddie Mutwe, the chief bodyguard for opposition leader Bobi Wine. Kainerugaba wrote on X that he had captured Mutwe like a grasshopper and was using him as a punching bag. In a statement, Justice Minister Norbert Mao said Mutwe appeared in court in a visibly weak condition and showing signs of being tortured. He said he did not say who was responsible for Mutwe's condition, but called on the court to deal swiftly with the opposition figure's case. In Asia, ailing former Prime Minister Khalida Zia returned to Bangladesh after 4 months of medical treatment in London, drawing large crowd of flag-waving supporters and reigniting the opposition's call for national elections. It was gathered that Khalida, 79 years old, who leads the opposition Bangladesh Nationalist Party, arrived on a special air ambulance arranged by Qatar's emir. Greeted by senior BNP leaders, she smiled and waved from a wheelchair as thousands of supporters and some draped in Bangladesh and BNP flags lined the streets leading to her residence. Khalida's return adds fresh momentum to the BNP's demand for election by December. The country has been under the interim government led by Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus since Sheikh Hasina was removed as the prime minister and fled to India in August following deadly protest. Yunus pledged reforms and said the poll could be delayed until 2026. An American mountaineer died on the Mount Makalu in eastern Nepal during a climb to raise funds for a children's cancer program, the second death in the Himalayan nation's climbing season that began in March. The world's fifth highest mountain, Makalu's peak, is 8,463 meters high compared to Mount Everest, the tallest peak, at a height of 8,849 meters. Expedition organizer Madison Mountaineer said Alexander Pankol, 39 years old, died on Sunday while settling into a sleeping bag at the mountain's second high camp after returning from the acclimatization trip at the higher camp. Pankol, who survived a brain tumor when younger, had completed the Explorer's Grand Slam, climbing the highest peak on each of the 7 continents and skiing both the North and South Poles. He had been battling chronic myeloid leukemia and was attempting to climb Makalu to raise funds for a pediatric blood cancer program of the Chicago-based Lurie Children's Hospital. In Europe, cardinals who will take part in secret conclave to elect a new Catholic Pope began checking into the new 2 Vatican hotels where they will be barred from contact within the outside world as they decide who should succeed Pope Francis. The conclave will start behind the closed doors of the Sixtine Chapel on Wednesday afternoon, with all cardinals under the age of 80 able to vote on who should be the next leader of the 1.4 billion member church. The race to succeed Francis, who died last month, is seen as wide open. Although a few names have been cited as possible front-runners, several of the 133 cardinals expected to vote in the conclave have said they don't know who will become the next pope. The Archbishop of Washington, D.C. Cardinal Robert McElroy, said during a visit to parish in Rome that the conclave process is a profound and mysterious one. Some cardinals are looking for a new pope who will continue Francis' push for more transparent, welcoming church, while others seeking retrenchment to more traditional routes that put a premium on doctrine. German conservative leader Friedrich Merz failed to secure enough parliamentary votes to become chancellor, throwing politics in Europe's largest economy into disarray as it seeks to emerge from recession and stem far-right extremism. Merz, 69 years old, who led his conservatives to a federal election victory in February and signed a coalition deal with the center-left Social Democrat SDP, won just 310 votes in the lower house. The Bundestag, 6 short of an absolute majority, at least 18 coalition MPs failed to back him. While not a fatal setback, May's failure would win backing at the first attempt is a first for post-war and an embarrassment for a man who has promised to restore German leadership on the world stage. Most immediately, it's true introduced the trip May's and planned to France and Poland on Wednesday as the new chancellor. In the Americas, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney is set to meet Donald Trump in the Oval Office in the bid to reset a relationship he said has been undermined by the United States President's tariffs and talk of annexation. Carney's Liberal Party won on April 28 election on the back promises to tackle Trump and create a new bilateral economy and security relationship with the United States. It will be his first in-person meeting as Prime Minister with Trump.
It's important to get engaged immediately, which has always been my intention, has always been his intention. I go there with the expectation of constructive, difficult but constructive discussions. That's the spirit of the conversations that the President and I had. You go to these meetings well prepared, understanding the objectives of your counterpart, and always acting in the best interest of Canada, and we'll go from there.
Reacting, United States President Donald Trump, while speaking with reporters, said he's not sure Carney wants to see him.
I don't know, he's coming to see me. I'm not sure what he wants to see me about, but I guess he wants to make a deal. Everybody does. They all want to make a deal because we have something that they all want. We have something that they all want. China wants to make a deal very badly. You see what's happening to China. China's being decimated, and I don't want that to happen. But they have to make a fair deal. We were losing hundreds of billions of dollars a year. We were losing think of it, on our trade policies with Biden. We're losing $5 billion a day. I think Josh, as a great businessman, would not let that happen too long, right? How many groups could lose $5 billion a day? If you lose $5 billion one day, that's the end of that company, right? You're fired. He says, you're fired. Get out of here. So we essentially did that. And we have it down to a very low number. We're doing really well, really well.
Canada is the United States' second largest individual trading partner after Mexico and the largest export market for United States goods. More than $760 billion in goods flowed from between the two countries last year, and while Canada has a run trade surplus of more than $60 billion in the last 2 years, most of that stemmed from its status as the largest foreign supplier of oil to the United States. Talking sports, Nigerian Super Falcons will face the Indomitable Lioness of Cameroon in a friendly this month. The game will serve as a part of the Super Falcons' preparation for the 2024 Women's African Cup of Nations. Justice Madugu's side were last in action in a friendly against France last December. They lost fiercely contested 2-1 in Les Bleus. The Super Falcons are expected to engage in more friendlies before the start of the WAFCON 2024. The 9-time champions are drawn in a Group B with Botswana, Tunisia, and Algeria. Morocco will host the competition from Saturday 5th July to Saturday 26th July 2025. Arsenal are expected to give Liverpool a guard of honour when both teams face off at Anfield this weekend. Mikel Arteta's men will follow Chelsea's lead and honour the newly crowned champions as they come onto the field. Chelsea's player honoured Liverpool ahead of their Premier League on Sunday, which is the first team to do so. The mark of respect had triggered debates with some branding it humiliating. However, it is thought that the Gunners players will line up to applaud their rivals onto the pitch. Before we go, here again are the highlights. The Senate has constituted an 18-member committee tasked with overseeing the activities of the sole administrator of Rivers State, Ibok Ete Ibas, in a bid to strengthen transparency and accountability in the state's governance. Elsewhere, Explosion and fires rocked Sudan's main port city and wartime capital Port Sudan, part of a days-long drone assault that has stopped the country's biggest fuel depot, damaging the most important gateway for foreign aid. In Europe, cardinals who will take part in the secret conclave to elect a new Catholic pope began checking into 2 Vatican hotels where they will be barred from contact with the outside world as they decide who should succeed Pope Francis. That was the world news on Radio Afinjo. To view our channel, please follow Radio Afinjo on Facebook, X, and YouTube. The news was edited by Stella Adiroti. My name is Tolulope Awoyale. Thanks for listening. Good evening.